Hi everyone, this is Sarah Babar. I'm your ASG Chief Justice, and I'm coming to you with this Fall 2021 Virtual ASG Informational. So, thanks for tuning in. After you finish watching this amazing video, you can fill out the Senate or Judicial Branch application, whichever you prefer. So, let's just get right into it. Alright, so what am I even talking about here? You might be asking yourself, what even is the Associated Student Government? Well, that's why I'm here. ASG is essentially the student representative community on campus. It's made up of two main parts, the student government and our programming board, known as TPB. ASG is funded by the student activity fee that all students pay in addition to their tuition, and it goes towards funding different events and student-centered activities. So you'll see like a student activity fee in your cost of attendance, so that's what I'm talking about. Members of ASG are also either elected or appointed into their positions. For example, senators are elected and associate justices in my branch are appointed. By being an ASG, you're committing to being advocates and representatives for the student population, reflecting their needs and wants and maintaining dialogue with your constituents. We, as ASG, also use our budget towards supporting a variety of campus services, including but not limited to the Commons, the Veterans Center, the Food Pantry, the Textbook Reserve, and so much more. So, with this student activity fee that I'm talking about, we invest in a multitude of resources that serve the students, and that's you all. Another major part of ASG is establishing connections between different student organizations in addition to their relationships with the administration. We do this to make sure that students' voices are not only being heard by us, but being heard by the higher-ups that make really big decisions for the school, and that affects us all. Here is ASG's mission statement. Feel free to read along as I read this out loud with inflection and passion. The Associated Student Government serves the University of San Diego undergraduates as official representatives who promote opportunities for growth and expression, address student issues, and enrich a diverse, inclusive, and engaged community. As you can see by my passionate reading of this statement, this is essentially what drives us to be an ASG in the first place. We're here to serve the undergraduate community and make changes that you want to see at USD. Pretty cool stuff here, folks. So here we have this very beautiful and visually appealing organization chart that splits up the different branches that we have in ASG. So I'm just going to give you all a little rundown on what positions to expect when you enter ASG. So first of all, we have the executive branch, and that's exec for short, which is a fantastic group, if I do say so myself, made up of the president, the vice president, Terrera Program Board Chair, Chief of Staff, Public Relations Chair, and Finance Chair, as well as the Speaker of the Senate and the Chief Justice. So there are a lot of layers, obviously, within executive branch. So, for example, we have the TPB Chair, and they're our window to the TPB branch, and they represent, you guessed it, the TPB side of ASG. And they work with their vice chairs and coordinators, as well as the rest of ASG. So TPB is its own branch within ASG. It's kind of like the fourth branch. So that's important to note, but they're very much still a part of ASG. They just have a few of their own things going on. We also have the finance chair. So the finance chair represents the budget committee. And so they work with their committee members, the budget controller, it's right here, and then most importantly, they work with those very confusing Excel spreadsheets that I really just do not understand. But we'll move on. Then we also have the Speaker of the Senate, who is, of course, in charge of the Senate, and that's our legislative branch. And then we have the Chief Justice, who's in charge of our judicial branch. So I'm going to go back to the legislative branch for a second. So as I mentioned, the Speaker of the Senate oversees a wide variety of senators that serve in this branch. So those of you who are running for Senate will be hopefully paying a lot of attention to this part right here. So after the Speaker, they have other leadership positions within Senate, such as the Speaker Pro Tempore or Speaker Pro Temp, who is essentially the Speaker when the real Speaker isn't there. And we also have chairs of the various standing committees we have in Senate. So the standing committees we have are the Academics Committee, the Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility Committee, the Student Life Committee, and the Student Organizations Committee. So I know this part right here, you're probably like, no, there's no accessibility. So this chart was made when it used to be the Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Committee, but we recently added the accessibility element to that. So now it's Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility Committee. The acronym is IDEA, super cute. And so we also have these kind of subcommittees, coordinators. So we have the athletics coordinator, the health and wellness coordinator, and the sustainability coordinator. So when you join Senate, you get to align yourself with one of these and you get assigned a committee. And that's just what you'll be working on in terms of projects and stuff like that. So senators are either, academic senators, residential senators, at-large senators, commuter senators. So I'm going to get into all of that later, so don't worry, but I just wanted to give you a little rundown. And then, of course, the Chief Justice is right here, so they're in charge of the Judicial Branch, and so there are more leadership positions within the Judicial Branch because we have the parliamentarian right here. So the parliamentarian is the person who is basically in charge of all the rules and making sure everything stays on track according to Constitution and Robert's Rules of Order. And so though the parliamentarian attends weekly Senate meetings, they're still very much a part of the Judicial Branch. And the rest of the Judicial Branch is made up of 3 associate justices who work with the chief and the parliamentarian on things like elections and bylaws and honestly a lot of rule-related things. Okay, requirements for ASG. This is essentially what you got to bring to the table in order to join this phenomenal organization. The first one is that you must be enrolled in a minimum of 12 units at USD, unless you are a graduating senior and it's a little different for you. The second one is that you must have a minimum 2.5 cumulative GPA. Pretty straightforward. The third one is that you must watch this well-made election informational before you fill out the application. And trust me, I will know if you didn't. Don't try me. Adding on to the third one comes the fourth one, which is that you must complete an elections packet, which is essentially the application and watching this video, and provide a degree work screenshot for us to verify your GPA and other information like that. The fifth one is that all academic senators must be declared in a major of the college for which they represent. So, if you're majoring in business, I do not want to see you running for a College of Arts and Sciences senator position. Similarly, if you are a residential senator, you must live in the residence hall that you are representing. Pretty straightforward again. And the final requirement is that you may not hold 2 or more ASG positions at a time. That's honestly just a law and is for your benefit as well. So let's just keep it at 1. Call it a day. Okay. So now I'm going to go over the different senator positions we have available. But first, let me explain the various senator positions that we have in general. The first is residential senators, right here. And that basically means you're voted into office by and are representing the students that reside in the same residential area that you do. So if you live in the Vistas, you can't run to be a Maher senator, for example. Commuter senators are just senators who commute to school, self-explanatory, and they do not reside in university housing. At-large senators, which is right here, are voted in by the entire student body instead of, having to deal with the restrictions of academic or residential senators, for example, and they kind of represent everybody. The academic senators, which is right here, they represent a certain college. For example, business majors will fall under the School of Business, so that is where they would be running in terms of academic senator positions. Does that make sense? Awesome. Moving on. So here are the senator positions that we have available for this fall. So pay attention here because this is what you're going to be looking for when you're trying to figure out what you want to run for. So, prospective senators, these are your options in terms of what you would like to run for. We have 10 residential senator openings here, 7 commuter senator openings, 1 at-large senator opening, and 4 academic senator openings. You can see here the distribution of vacancies that the numbers here represent. So align yourself accordingly with what you want to run for when you fill out the application. Responsibilities of senators. So here is what you basically are responsible for, assuming you get elected into this position. First and foremost, you are representing the people, representing your constituents and the student body. That is your job. That means talking to the variety of people that make up your constituent community, hearing their wants and needs, and bringing them back to the rest of the ASG leadership team. In order to do that, you are required to hold office hours throughout the week to allow any member of the student body to come talk to you. Also, every member of ASG has an advisor. So as a senator, you will be required to meet with them bi-weekly just to make sure that everything's going smoothly. We have an amazing advisory team in ASG with some awesome people who really care not only about the work that you do, but about you yourself, which is super important. They're a great resource. And of course, you have to attend weekly Senate meetings that are held on Thursday during Torero hours, which are 12 to 2 p.m., as well as attend all weekly committee meetings, which you'll be going to the committee that you are assigned to. And additionally, you will participate in ASG events and activities, as well as attending the required trainings and retreats that ASG holds. And if you have a scheduling issue or stuff like that, that's something we can work out, but I hope it doesn't come to that because it's always really great and efficient when everybody is able to attend. Okay, so Senate leadership. Here is where I'll dive into the leadership positions a little bit more. I know I gave some basic information before, but I'm really going to get into it now. So we'll start with the Speaker of the Senate. So we currently have the Speaker role filled. I just want to put that out there. This is just for your information, just in case this is something you want on your radar, something you're going to be interested in for the future. So the Speaker is elected within the Senate and is already a sworn-in senator prior to their Speaker election. So it used to be that the entire student body would vote for the Speaker just like they would the President or the Vice President, but after a vote from the student body, our Constitution changed to reflect that the Speaker would be elected from a group of already elected senators by those elected senators. I hope that makes sense. And the Speaker is also responsible for scheduling and leading all of the weekly Senate meetings, unless they are unable to attend, and then the Speaker pro temp takes their place. And so the Speaker also appoints the Speaker pro temp, the Clerk of the Senate, and the Senate chairs. In addition to that, just FYI, the Speaker also serves on the Executive Branch. I already said that, but they also serve on the ASG Finance Committee, and they attend the Board of Trustee meetings. Moving on to more leadership positions, as I mentioned previously, we also have the Speaker pro temp right here. They are essentially the vice chair to the Speaker of the Senate. They help run things smoothly and assist the Speaker when needed, and of course they step up when the Speaker is unable to attend. They are one of the positions within the Senate leadership team. Another Senate leadership team position is the Clerk of Senate right here. They do things like take roll and note the minutes for the Senate meetings, just stuff like that. And as I've mentioned before, we have committee and subcommittee chairs that are in charge of overseeing their own committees and their initiatives, and they represent their committees at the weekly Senate meetings, reporting any updates, projects, initiatives, just stuff like that. So the various Senate committees that we have are the Academics Committee, the Student Organizations Committee, the Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility Committee, and the Student Life Committee. So these are the standing committees that we have. And there are also 3 coordinators, the Health and Wellness Coordinator, Sustainability Coordinator, and Athletics Coordinator. And so they exist as well. Health and Wellness and Sustainability fall under the Student Life Committee. Alrighty, on to the Executive Branch. And we will start with the President and the Vice President. The President is responsible for leading the executive branch, and they are one of the main point people for bridging the gap between administration and students. They're also a part of the university-wide standing committees and are responsible for bringing other students into those committees as well. Again, in an effort to achieve a high level of student representation in these rooms. And of course, they serve on the Board of Trustees. Next, we have the Vice President. So the Vice President is very academic oriented, and they attend University Senate, which is essentially the faculty version of ASG, and they're part of a bunch of different committees like the undergraduate curriculum committee, so on and so forth. They also work with and oversee the chair of academics and the academics committee. Like the president, they serve on the board of trustees as well. Next, we have some other members of exec, the first being the public relations chair, who is in charge of overseeing external communication issues as well as helping out with elections. We also have the finance chair right here, who, as I've mentioned, leads the finance committee and works with the ASG budget committee, or also known as ASGBC, on all things money related. Finally, the chief of staff has a widespread task list depending on what the branch in the organization needs, and they work closely with the rest of the exec board and ASG advisors on anything that needs to be done. Another important thing to note here is that all the various members of exec attend the weekly Senate meetings and give updates to Senate on what they've been working on and what they need from everybody else. Moving forward, we have our newest ASG branch, the Judicial Branch, or as I like to call them, the Judies. The Judicial Branch is led by the Chief Justice, who chairs all of the court sessions and hearings, processes campus referendums, holds meetings for the Judicial Branch, and serves on exec. And they also work intensely on elections, as they are, in fact, the elections chairperson. Next, we have the Parliamentarian. Aside from being a killer Scrabble word, the parliamentarian is a judicial expert on all things constitution and bylaws related, and they also have a really good sense of Robert's Rules of Order, which is a set of guidelines for keeping meetings and hearings in order. The parliamentarian can be paralleled to the Speaker Pro Temp in their position of being the right hand. You know, the Speaker Pro Temp is the right hand to the Speaker, and the parliamentarian is the right hand to the Chief Justice. And they fill in when necessary. And then we have the Associate Justices. There's 3 of them, and they're also required to be experts on the Constitution, the bylaws, the Robert's Rules, and their job is to adjudicate the different cases that come forward. Okay, so I did my best to kind of do a little crash course on this whole election thing and the different positions. But if you need something a little more concrete, no hard feelings. Just head to our elections website and hopefully you can clarify a few things. The URL is right here, so feel free to check that out if you need more information. No hard feelings. The keyword that I have developed to ensure that you're paying attention to this amazing informational that I've worked extremely hard on is Kumeyaay, as in the Kumeyaay Nation, whose territory we reside on as students of the University of San Diego. Very important thing to know. So, yeah, the more you know. With this keyword, there will be a question on the application that asks you what the keyword is. So this is just my way of making sure that you at least made it this far within the informational. Okay, well, I'm throwing a lot of information at you, so you might be asking yourself, what do I get out of this? Well, buddies, let me tell you. The first thing you get is an excellent leadership opportunity. You get to cultivate brand new skill sets and experience a level of growth that you never thought you could experience. Not to be dramatic, but ASG honestly changed my life and made me confident in my leadership skills, something that I'm extremely grateful for. And I honestly don't know where I'd be without it. Again, not to be dramatic, but you can also change the lives of students on campus. Being in positions where you constantly work to serve the student body and not only hear, but elevate their voices allows you to spark changes in our university that makes their lives a heck of a lot easier. So it's something to be really proud of. You're making students happy. Additionally, ASG enhances many future professional development opportunities. The skills you develop from any student government organization are very well known to employers, grad school admissions staff, and almost anyone on the outside. So having experiences like this one under your belt can go a long way. So definitely something to consider. AKA, this is a resume boost, folks. So honestly, get on it. ASG members also get to connect with the administration, and that is a very rare opportunity to have. You get to be the one to bridge the gap between administrators and undergraduate students. Your role here is crucial because you're bringing the student voice to folks who make major decisions that affect us all. And it really shouldn't be taken lightly. And, of course, the moment you've been waiting for, money. I know, you were waiting for the monetary compensation talk, so here it is. Yes, student leaders receive Federal Work Service Awards, which are always a plus in this cold, capitalistic world. So yes, money is offered here in this situation, yes. Moving on, here's a timeline for the election process of fall 2021. So this is specifically for Senate. If you're here for the appointment process, aka Judy Branch, just sit tight, we'll get to that timeline right after this one. So this amazing and fun virtual informational that I've created has been sent out with the application, and that's honestly why you're here now. So the applications are all due September 7th. Alright, say that with me, folks. September 7th, not the 8th, the 7th at 11:59 p.m. Do not miss that deadline. Then the candidates will be verified and approved by September 8th. Following that, all candidates will have a campaigning window from September 9th through September 13th. So it's during this time that you work to get the word out about yourself, promote your platform, and just push as many people as you can to vote period, and to vote specifically for you. So following this campaigning window, we have 2 days, September 14th and the 15th, for voting. So this is where your constituents can make or break your leadership career. I'm just kidding. It's not that dramatic. But, in a nice way, what I'm trying to say is, they use their voting ability to decide who they want to represent them. Same thing, two different ways of saying it. The election results will then be announced on September 16th. And then the newly elected will attend a mandatory ASG training on September 18th. Following the training, they will be sworn in at Senate on September 23rd as official senators. So the timeline for the Judicial Branch selection is fairly similar to that of the Senate elections. We have the same virtual informationals, the same application due date, and the same date for the approval of the candidates. However, it starts to differ after that. Because Judicial Branch is by appointment and not election, the candidates don't campaign, but they interview. So they're interviewed by the Chief Justice and a choosing committee of their choice. The appointments are then announced on September 13th, and like the winners of the Senate elections, the new justices will attend the mandatory ASG training on September 18th and will be sworn in at Senate on September 23rd. Declaring your candidacy. In order to declare your candidacy, that's such a word, candidacy, wow, sorry. In order to declare your candidacy, you watch this informational, fill out the application, and thoroughly review the election bylaws, which hold the rules to how you can even run and what regulations exist surrounding campaigning and just things like that. Remember, applications are due, say it with me one more time, folks, September 7th at 11:59 Pacific time. Alright, election rules. Listen, the election rules are so important, but they're also so long, so I will not be sitting here and reading them to you line by line. As candidates for Senate elections, you are responsible for knowing all the rules and regulations for elections, and you can find these in the ASG election bylaws. The bylaws live in the ASG website, so make sure you go check that out. Just some food for thought, the posting policy for USC is fairly strict, so make sure to have everything by the book when campaigning, because if not, I promise it'll get messy, and you don't want your platform to suffer because of it. So please check out those election bylaws. They are the key to running this safe, healthy, and amazing election. Here we have a few FAQs, or frequently asked questions, that I'll go over in case you have them as well. First question: if I am elected as an academic senator and I switch my major to a different college, will I lose my position? No! You will, in fact, be able to finish the year in your elected position. So don't you worry. you switch that major if need be? Great question. Next question. Will I be compensated for being on ASG? Again with the money, folks. Really? Just kidding. Great question. Yes, ASG members typically receive a little work service awards, so keep the change. Finally, can I appeal the results? Yes, you actually can. The election bylaws have the information for appeals, so go check that out. But please note that appeals must be submitted to the Chief Justice, that me, no later than 3 school days after the election. Election bylaws, folks. If you have any other questions about elections, you can email us at asgpublicrelations@sandiego.edu, or if it's more bylaw related, you can hit me up at asgchiefjustice@sandiego.edu. We are both more than happy to help you out. Now, for those of you who made it to the end of this extremely long, yet very well narrated informational, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to follow our Instagrams at USD_ASG and at USD_TPB so you can stay up to date with everything we're doing. Thanks again. Have a great day or night or whatever time this is for you. Good luck, and I hope to see you all around. Chief Judy out.